When a tourist's camera captures a child standing face to face with Africa's deadliest lion pride, the world holds its breath. The 5 lions, nicknamed the Ghost Pride, have terrorized Tanzania's Serengeti Wildlife Reserve for months, charging vehicles, ambushing rangers, and leaving 4 men hospitalized. After their latest attack nearly kills a senior ranger, wildlife officials make the heartbreaking decision: these animals must be destroyed. But before sharpshooters can act, 8-year-old Amara Okafor slips away from her father and does the unthinkable. She walks directly toward the pride's battle-scarred alpha male. What happens in those breathtaking moments will shake the foundations of wildlife science and conservation forever. Behind the Ghost Pride's aggression lies a story of suffering the experts missed: poaching, poisoning, and betrayal that transformed these magnificent creatures from peaceful animals into vengeful shadows. Only through a child's eyes could their truth finally emerge. Quick pause before we continue. Tell us, where in the world are you watching from? If you're enjoying these stories, make sure to hit subscribe, because tomorrow's episode is absolutely mind-blowing. The light hasn't yet broken over the eastern horizon as Lorato Kumalo steps from her ranger station into the cool morning air. 20 years patrolling the Serengeti Wildlife Reserve haven't dulled her reverence for this moment, that breathless pause before the world awakens. She adjusts her khaki uniform and checks her rifle, a precaution she once considered ceremonial, but now regards with grim necessity. "Command to Ranger 1. Radio check." A crackle sounds from her handheld radio. "Ranger 1, reading you clear." "Beginning Eastern Sector Patrol," Lorato responds, her South African accent clipping the words. Her colleague, Daniel, slides into the Land Cruiser's passenger seat, his right arm still wrapped in bandages. The young ranger's face bears the tightness of someone forcing courage. "You don't have to come," Lorato says, starting the engine. "No one would question you sitting this one out." Daniel shakes his head. "I need to see them again to understand." They drive in silence as dawn bleeds across the savannah, painting the landscape in amber and gold. Herds of zebras scatter before the vehicle, their black and white patterns stark against the tawny grass. In another time, this beauty would have filled Lorato with peace. Today, her eyes constantly scan the horizon, searching for shapes that don't belong there. Daniel whispers, pointing toward a distant acacia tree by the southernmost stand. Lorato raises her binoculars. 5 lions rest in the patchy shade, their tawny bodies almost invisible against the dry grass. The largest, a male, with a distinctive dark scar running from his left eye to his muzzle, lifts his head to watch their approach. "That's them," she confirms. "The Ghost Pride." Director Sophia Chen's office sits at the highest point of the reserve's administrative building, its windows offering a panoramic view of the landscape she's sworn to protect. Now she stares down at the photographs spread across her desk. "4 separate attacks, each more brazen than the last," says Dr. Josephine Bennett, the reserve's behavioral ecologist. "They've never shown this pattern before." The American researcher taps a satellite image showing lion migration routes. "These 5 were part of the Kipeo Pride until about 7 months ago. No aggression, normal hunting patterns, standard avoidance of human contact. What changed?" Minister Ibrahim Oj, the government official who's flown in specifically for this crisis meeting, asks. "Everything," says Samuel Okafor, the reserve's senior wildlife biologist. "Unprecedented drought, poaching incursions from the north, And this. He places another photo on the desk. This one showing a lion's paw mutilated by a wire snare. Scar, the male, was caught in a poacher's trap 4 months before the first attack. Rangers freed him, but now they're associating humans with pain. It's more than that, Director Chen concludes. These attacks aren't random, Samuel insists. They're targeting ranger patrols specifically, avoiding tourist vehicles. It's like they're hunting us. Minister OJ's face hardens. 4 rangers hospitalized. A British tourist nearly killed her. The international press is calling them the Killer Pride. I've authorized the removal order. Removal? Samuel's voice rises. You mean execution? Protection of human life, OJ counters. My responsibility extends beyond these 5 animals, to the people of surrounding villages, to our tourism industry, to the reserve staff. We haven't exhausted all options, says Dr. Bennett, though her voice lacks conviction. Relocation has failed twice. Director Chen interrupts. They return to the same territory within days. Samuel stares out at the savannah, stretching beyond the windows. Give me 1 more week. 7 days to try something different. What haven't we tried? OJ asks skeptically. I have a theory, Samuel begins, but seems reluctant to continue. The removal team arrives on Friday, OJ says, rising from his chair. That gives you exactly 5 days, Dr. Okafor. After that, I'm putting the safety of people first. At the Kaipeo Research Station, 10 kilometers from the administrative center, a young girl sits cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by animal behavior textbooks far beyond her years. 8-year-old Amara Okafor has her father's focused brown eyes and her mother's determined chin. She carefully copies notes into a journal emblazoned with lion cubs on its cover. Amara, her mother, Grace, appears in the doorway. Have you packed for tomorrow's field trip? Almost done, Mama, Amara answers without looking up. Grace approaches, peering over her daughter's shoulder at complex diagrams of predator body language. Sweetheart, these are your father's research books. I'm trying to understand the lions everyone's afraid of, Amara explains, her pencil still moving across the page. Papa says they're not bad, just scared. Grace's expression softens with concern. Your father also says those particular lions are dangerous, and you're to stay far away from them. Promise me. Amara finally looks up, her eyes containing a wisdom that often unsettles adults. I promise to be careful. That's not what I asked for, Grace says firmly. Before Amara can respond, the sound of a vehicle approaching draws their attention. Through the window, they see her father's Land Cruiser kicking up dust as it races toward the research station. Samuel bursts through the door moments later, his face tight with stress. They've given us 5 days, he announces to Grace. 5 days to find another solution before they kill the pride. Oh, Sam, Grace says, moving to embrace her husband. I'm so sorry. Amara rises from her nest of books. Papa, can I help with the lions? Samuel blinks, as if only now noticing his daughter's presence. For a moment, his expression shifts from distress to consideration. No, Grace interjects firmly. Absolutely not. It was just a thought, Samuel says quickly, though something in his eyes suggests otherwise. Of course, Amara will stay with the education group tomorrow, far from the eastern sector. At Lake Azizi, the watering hole has shrunk to half its normal size, a symptom of the drought gripping the region. As darkness falls, the 5 lions emerge from the surrounding brush. They move with predatory grace, despite their increasingly visible ribs. Scar leads, his massive head swinging side to side, scanning for threats. Behind him, Nala, the oldest female, moves with deliberate precision, her ears constantly pivoting. The younger male, Taji, follows closely, while Zuri and Amara, the remaining females, protect the rear. They function with military precision, a unit forged in adversity. A fleet-footed Thompson's gazelle freezes at their approach, then bolts. Taji instinctively gives chase, but Scar's low growl stops him instantly. The lions aren't hunting gazelle tonight. They've detected the scent of humans. Half a kilometer away, a small team of rangers makes camp, preparing for tomorrow's early patrol. Unaware of the approaching danger, they laugh around a small cooking fire as they prepare their evening meal. John Mwangi, the team's senior tracker, suddenly stiffens. "Listen," he whispers. The laughter dies immediately as everyone strains to hear. "I don't hear anything," begins Esther, the youngest ranger. "Exactly," John interrupts. "No insects, no nightjars. The savannah has gone silent." Lorato reaches slowly for her rifle. "Form a circle! Backs to the fire!" The rangers comply instantly, their trained movements betraying only the slightest tremor of fear. For long minutes, they stand in tense silence, peering into the darkness. Their eyes can't penetrate it. "Maybe it was a leopard passing through," Patrick suggests eventually, his voice hushed. "Maybe," Lorato agrees, though she doesn't lower her weapon. "But we maintain watches tonight, 2 awake at all times." They don't see the 5 pairs of eyes watching from the tall grass, assessing, calculating. The lions have learned patience. They've learned strategy. They withdraw silently into the night, but they don't go far. Morning breaks across the Serengeti with spectacular colors that belie the tension beneath. At the administrative center, a group of 20 school children from Weber Village gathers for their educational tour. Their excited chatter fills the air as they point at illustrations of wildlife on the visitor center walls. Amara stands slightly apart, watching a video monitor displaying live feeds from various parts of the reserve. Her attention fixes on one, showing the eastern sector lion territory. "Who's excited to see giraffes today?" asks Sarah and Lovu, the enthusiastic teachers charged with herding the energetic children. A chorus of raised hands and cheerful affirmations follows, but Amara's eyes remain on the monitor. Samuel approaches, kneeling beside his daughter. "Remember your promise to your mother." "I know, Papa," Amara says, finally turning to him. "Stay with the group. No wandering." Samuel studies her face, seeming to wrestle with something unspoken. "The education route is completely safe. Director Chen has doubled the guide escorts." "Because of the ghost pride?" Amara asks innocently, though her eyes hold knowledge beyond her years. Samuel sighs. "Yes, but they're 5 kilometers east of your route, and they've never approached the tourist areas." "They're not monsters, Papa." "No," Samuel agrees quietly. "They're not. They're survivors." The school group boards 2 specially modified safari vehicles, open-sided but with reinforced safety features. Amara climbs aboard the second vehicle, taking a seat at the very back. As they pull away, her father stands watching, a troubled expression clouding his features. 6 kilometers away, Lorato's team has already begun their morning patrol. The night passed without incident, but the tension has left them exhausted and irritable. "We can't continue like this," Esther says, scanning the horizon through binoculars, jumping at shadows, expecting an attack with every patrol. "The minister has authorized removal," John informs them, his voice carefully neutral. "Sharpshooters arrive Friday." Patrick shifts uncomfortably. "Doesn't feel right. These lions were peaceful for years." "They've made their choice," Lorato states flatly, though her expression reveals more complexity. "Our job is to protect human life first." "Movement at 2 o'clock, Esther suddenly announces. "All 5 moving parallel to us, about 300 meters out." Lotto raises her own binoculars. The lions are clearly visible now, moving with purpose, their formations structured for attack. "They're hurting us," she realizes aloud, "driving us toward the ravine where Daniel was ambushed." "We should call for helicopter extraction," Patrick suggests, his hand moving to the radio. Lorato hesitates. Years of conservation instincts war with her duty to protect her team. "Not yet. We adjust course northwest, toward the open plain. They won't attack without cover." The land cruiser changes direction, cutting across the savannah toward more exposed terrain. For several tense minutes, the lions maintain a parallel course, watching, evaluating. "They're learning our tactics," John observes grimly, "adapting." Suddenly, Scar breaks into a sprint, not toward the vehicle, but cutting across its path. The remaining lions fan out in a coordinated maneuver that leaves the Rangers with only one escape route, directly into a stand of trees, perfect for an ambush. "Enough," Lorato decides, grabbing the radio. "Command, this is Ranger 1 requesting immediate helicopter support. We are being tactically engaged by the Ghost Pride at coordinates." As she relays their position, none of them notice the movement at the western perimeter of the reserve. The school tour vehicles have stopped for a mid-morning break, allowing the children to stretch their legs in a designated safe zone. In the momentary chaos of 20 excited children disembarking, no one immediately notices that their count has dropped to 19. Amara Okafor, her small backpack clutched tightly, slips away from the group and toward the destiny that awaits her. Telling and preparing this story took us a lot of time. So, if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now, back to the story. The helicopter blades slice through the morning air as pilot Michael Stevens responds to Lorato's urgent call. From his aerial vantage, he spots the Ranger's vehicle surrounded by golden grass that provides perfect camouflage for the stalking lions. "Visual confirmation of your situation, Ranger 1, Michael radios down. "I count all 5 members of the Ghost Pride in strategic positions around your vehicle below." Lorato and her team maintain their defensive formation. The helicopter's arrival has paused the lions' advance, but hasn't driven them away. Scar, the battle-scarred male, simply watches the aircraft with calculated indifference. "They're not even running," Esther whispers, astonishment overriding her fear. "Normal lions flee from helicopters." "These stopped being normal lions months ago," John replies grimly. Michael brings the helicopter lower, executing the standard predator deterrent maneuvers that have reliably scattered lions for decades. The Ghost Pride merely retreats to a safer distance, maintaining visual contact with the Rangers. "I'm setting down 50 meters from your position," Michael announces. "Transfer to the helicopter immediately." As the Rangers prepare to make their dash for extraction, a new radio call breaks through. "Emergency at the western perimeter," comes the panicked voice of Sarah and Lovu. "We have a child missing from the school tour. Repeat, 8-year-old girl unaccounted. 4. Lorato freezes, her blood running cold. "Identification of the missing child?" A moment of silence, then, "Amara Okafor, Dr. Okafor's daughter." Across the reserve, Samuel receives the news in Director Chan's office. The color drains from his face as he grabs the radio. "Where was she last seen?" he demands, his professional composure shattered. "She was in the second vehicle," Sarah responds, her voice trembling. "We noticed her missing during the mid-morning break." "Stop," Samuel whispers, more to himself than the others in the room. "Her backpack is gone, too. She planned this." Director Chen is already mobilizing a search team, her efficiency masking her concern. "All available personnel to the Western Education Zone. Aerial surveillance redirected immediately. The Ghost Pride was last spotted 6 kilometers east, moving toward the central savannah. That puts them directly between our search area and the lions," Minister O.J. points out. Dr. Bennett's eyes widen with sudden understanding. Samuel is already rushing for the door. Amara moves with surprising confidence through the savannah, consulting a hand-drawn map she's pulled from her backpack. Unlike an adult, she makes herself small, crawling through tall grass when possible, minimizing her silhouette against the horizon. Her childish features are set with a determination that borders on serenity. From her backpack, she removes a worn journal filled with meticulous notes and drawings far beyond what one would expect from an 8-year-old. She consults a page labeled Lion Communication Signals. Before continuing forward, the distant sound of the helicopter causes her to pause, crouching lower. She knows they've discovered her absence by now. Her timeline has accelerated. Amara reaches a rocky outcropping that provides both shelter and a vantage point. Climbing carefully, she surveys the landscape through a pair of compact binoculars. Her small finger traces a path on her map, the probable location of the Ghost Pride based on Ranger radio reports she secretly monitored for weeks. At the research station, Grace Okafor paces frantically, clutching her phone as she waits for updates. The door bursts open as Elder Kwame enters, his weathered face creased with concern. "I came as soon as I heard," the village elder says. "The searchers are combing the western quadrant. She's not there," Grace responds with certainty. "She's gone looking for the lions." Her expression grows grave. Why would she do this? Even a child understands the danger. Grace moves to a shelf, pulling down a stack of Amara's drawings. Because of these. Because she believes she understands something about them that others don't. The drawings reveal extraordinary detail. Lions in various postures with annotations about ear positions, tail movements, vocal tones. The insights blend scientific observation with an almost intuitive understanding of animal behavior. Samuel has been teaching her since she could hold a pencil, Grace explains, her voice breaking. But this obsession with the Ghost Pride started after the first attacks. She kept saying they were misunderstood. Kwame studies the drawings with new respect. "In my village, we speak of those born with the knowing, children who understand the natural world in ways others cannot." "She's just a little girl," Grace whispers, tears finally breaking through her composure. "A little girl with an old soul," Kwame responds gently. "But even old souls can find themselves in danger beyond their understanding." The search intensifies as word spreads throughout the reserve. Samuel commandeers a vehicle, driving recklessly across terrain normally traversed with conservation-minded caution. His face is a mask of determined fear as he scans the horizon. Marcus Walsh, the veteran wildlife photographer who's been documenting the Ghost Pride, intercepts Samuel's vehicle. "I heard the radio chatter," the photographer says, climbing in. I know these lions better than anyone except you. Their patterns, territories. Samuel nods grimly, accepting the help without breaking his concentration. If you were a lion, where would you go to find them? Marcus consults his mental map. The lions were moving northwest after their encounter with Lorato's team. If they maintain that direction, they'll intersect with the seasonal stream near the old baobab. That's 4 kilometers from where Amara went missing, Samuel calculates, accelerating the vehicle. She couldn't cover that distance on foot, unless she had a head start. How long has she been planning this? Marcus asks quietly. The question hangs unanswered as dust billows behind their speeding vehicle. The lions move with practiced coordination across the savannah. Their pace is unhurried but purposeful. Scar leads, with Nala and Taji flanking him. Zuri and Amara maintain rear guard. Their gaunt frames tell the story of the drought. These are hungry predators fighting for survival. They pause at a shallow depression where water once flowed. Taji, the younger male, pause at the cracked earth, finding only dust. Nearby, a skeletal acacia stands witness to the changing climate that has pushed all creatures to desperation. Scar's head suddenly lifts, nostrils flaring. Something has caught his attention, a scent carried on the shifting breeze. His powerful muscles tense as he changes direction. The other lions instantly adjust their formation to follow. Amara has reached the ancient baobab tree, its massive trunk providing temporary shelter from the intensifying midday sun. She uncaps her water bottle, taking a careful sip, conservation learned from a lifetime in drought-prone regions. Her small fingers trace the tree's deeply furrowed bark as she catches her breath. A sound stops her mid-motion, the subtle displacement of air that precedes a predator's approach. Turning slowly, she faces the direction of the noise. 50 meters away, emerging from a stand of thorn trees, comes Scar. The massive lion stops, golden eyes fixed on the small human figure. Behind him, the 4 lionesses appear like shadows, spreading out in the hunting formation that has terrorized rangers for months. Amara doesn't run, doesn't scream. Instead, she carefully sets down her backpack and removes a small notebook. Her movements are deliberate, unhurried. She consults a specific page, then slowly assumes a posture, unlike anything the lions have seen from humans before. She makes herself small, eyes downcast, not in fear but in deference. Her body language communicates something that contradicts everything the ghost pride has come to associate with humans. Back at headquarters, the operations room has transformed into crisis command. The feeds from drones and the helicopter project onto wall screens as Director Chen coordinates the search effort. We have a possible visual on the Ghost Pride moving toward Sector 5, comes the pilot's tense report, approximately 3 kilometers from the last known position of the child. Samuel's voice breaks in over the radio. We're approaching Sector 5 from the south. ETA 6 minutes. The lions are moving faster than you are, Director Chen responds, her professionalism barely masking her dread. Helicopter is repositioning to intercept. Minister O.J., who has remained silent during the crisis, now speaks. Authorize the sharpshooters to deploy immediately. There's no time. Dr. Bennett counters. By the time they arrive, we use the helicopter, O.J. decides. Pilot Stevens is certified for wildlife control. There are rifles on board. Director Chen hesitates only momentarily before nodding. Aerial team, priority is child safety. You are authorized to use lethal force if the lions threaten the girl. The order is dispatched. She turns to Dr. Bennett. How will they react to finding her? If she runs, they'll chase, the behaviorist answers grimly. Predator instinct is triggered by flight. If she freezes, they might investigate before attacking. It could buy us minutes. And if she approaches them? Chen asks, voicing the unthinkable. Dr. Bennett's scientific detachment falters. Then God help her. Near the baobab, the confrontation unfolds in primal silence. Scar has advanced to within 30 meters of Amara, close enough for the girl to see the matted fur around the facial scar that gives him his name. The lionesses have maintained their distance, waiting for their leader's decision. Amara remains in her deferential posture, but now makes a sound, not a human sound of fear, but a soft exhalation through her nose that mimics a specific lion vocalization. It's the greeting sound young cubs make when approaching dominant pride members. Scar stops, his massive head tilting slightly in confusion. Slowly, with movements choreographed from a lifetime of observation, Amara shifts position. She turns her body sideways, making herself appear smaller, less threatening. Her eyes remain downcast, occasionally flicking up to observe the lion's response before lowering again. The tension stretches out for endless seconds. Then Scar does something unexpected. He sits on his haunches, still watching the child, but his posture has changed from hunt-ready to assessment. The sound of approaching vehicles breaks the moment. Scar rises instantly, a growl rumbling from his chest. The lionesses spread out again, preparing to defend against the human intrusion. Amara finally speaks, her voice carrying clearly across the savannah. "No, stay back." Samuel's vehicle crests a rise 200 men away, dust billowing behind it. He sees his daughter standing beneath the baobab tree and the 5 lions arrayed around her. "No, no, no," he moans, jamming the accelerator to the floor. Marcus grabs the dashboard for support. "Samuel, wait! Look!" Through his telephoto lens, the photographer has spotted what Samuel can't yet see clearly. The lions haven't attacked. They've formed a loose semicircle facing outward with Amara behind them. "They're protecting her from us," Marcus whispers in disbelief. The helicopter appears overhead, rotors drowning out all other sound. Michael Stevens positions the aircraft to create maximum deterrence, expecting the lions to scatter. Instead, the Ghost Pride holds position. Scar roars up at the helicopter, a sound so powerful it seems to vibrate the air itself. The lionesses press closer to Amara, who now stands with her arms outstretched, frantically signaling for the helicopter to back away. "This is impossible," Marcus breathes, documenting everything through his camera. Samuel slams on the brakes, bringing the vehicle to a lurching stop at a distance that won't further provoke the lions. He raises his binoculars with trembling hands. What he sees defies everything he thought he knew about lion behavior. Amara isn't being threatened. She's being integrated. The Pride's defensive formation has placed her at its center, the position normally reserved for cubs. "The helicopter's agitating them," Samuel shouts over the din, grabbing the radio. "Michael, pull back. I repeat, increase your distance." "I have orders to extract the child," comes the pilot's tense reply. "She's not in immediate danger," Samuel insists. "The Pride's behavior, it's protecting her." After a moment's hesitation, the helicopter rises and retreats to a higher altitude. As the noise diminishes, the lion's posture gradually relaxes. Scar settles back onto his haunches, his eyes never leaving the vehicle containing Samuel and Marcus. In this moment of relative calm, Amara slowly approaches the massive lion, with movements that display absolute confidence. She extends her small hand toward Scar's mane. Samuel watches, heart in his throat, as his 8-year-old daughter touches the most dangerous lion in Africa, and the lion leans into her touch like a house pet seeking affection. "My God," Marcus whispers, his camera capturing every impossible moment. "What is happening?" "She's communicating with them," Samuel realizes, scientific understanding battling parental terror. "Somehow she's broken through." Over the radio, Director Chen's voice crackles with urgency. "What's your status? Do you have visual on the child?" Samuel raises the radio slowly, his eyes never leaving the scene before him. "We have visual. Amara she's with the lions. They're accepting her." A stunned silence follows before Chen responds. "Accepting? How?" Samuel watches as Amara now sits cross-legged beside Scar. The other lionesses are approaching to investigate her with curious nudges rather than aggression. "Like she's part of their pride," he answers simply. The sun reaches its zenith over the Serengeti, casting harsh light on a tableau that defies explanation. A small human child surrounded by 5 of Africa's most feared predators, not as prey, but as family. And in this extraordinary moment, the balance between 2 species teeters on the precipice of profound change. Tension crackles through the air as the standoff continues beneath the ancient baobab. Samuel hasn't moved from his position 200 menace away, afraid any approach might shatter the fragile peace. Through his binoculars, he watches his daughter sitting calmly among Africa's most feared predators. "I need to get closer," he whispers, lowering the binoculars. Marcus grips his arm. "Not in the vehicle." Engine noise triggers their defensive response. "She's my daughter. And right now she's safer than any human has ever been with those lions," Marcus responds, still photographing the scene. "Look at her body language, completely relaxed. She knows what she's doing." The radio crackles with Director Chen's voice. "Samuel, Minister OJ wants an immediate extraction plan." "Tell him to wait," Samuel responds, not taking his eyes off the scene. "Something unprecedented is happening here." "The sharpshooter team is 20 minutes out," Chen continues, her voice taut. "No sharpshooters," Samuel interrupts forcefully. "These lions aren't threatening her. They're accepting her." A new voice breaks in. Dr. Bennett. "Samuel, can you describe exactly what you're seeing? Details matter." Samuel steadies his breathing, forcing himself into scientific observation mode. Despite his parental terror, he describes the pride's formation and the lion's behavior. "Impossible," comes Minister OJ's voice. "These same animals have actively hunted humans for months?" "I'm telling you what I'm seeing," Samuel insists. "My daughter is communicating with them somehow." Near the baobab, Amara continues her careful interactions with the ghost pride. Her movements remain deliberate, never sudden, never threatening. She speaks to them in a soft, melodic tone while maintaining the body language she studied from countless hours of observation. Taji, the younger male, approaches cautiously, his golden eyes fixed on the strange, small human. He sniffs at her backpack, whiskers twitching with curiosity. "Hello, Taji," Amara says softly, using the name she's assigned him in her observations. "You're hungry, aren't you? All of you are." She slowly unzips a side pocket of her backpack, removing a small pouch. The lions watch with intense focus as she withdraws dried meat, prepared in the traditional method. "It's just a taste," she explains, as if they understand her words. "To show I'm a friend." With careful movements, she places a piece on the ground before Taji, then retreats her hand. The young lion sniffs suspiciously before taking the offering. Scar watches this interaction with regal assessment. When Amara offers him a piece, he doesn't immediately accept. She places it halfway between them, neither forcing the interaction nor showing fear. After a long moment, the massive lion extends his neck and takes the dried meat, consuming it without taking his eyes from hers. Something passes between them, an unspoken understanding. In the operations room, the mood has shifted from crisis management to bewildered observation. The drone footage displays in high-definition clarity what Samuel has described: a small child sitting among lions, feeding them by hand. "I've studied lion behavior for 30 years, Dr. Bennett says, her scientific certainty shaken. This shouldn't be possible. These animals were traumatized by human contact, conditioned to associate humans with threat." Director Chen stares at the footage, her practical mind struggling with the implications. Could it be because she's a child? Smaller, less threatening. Size alone wouldn't account for this level of acceptance, Dr. Bennett replies. There's something more happening here. Something about her specific approach. Minister OJ paces the room, policy concerns warring with the wonder of what they're witnessing. Regardless of this anomaly, we can't risk a child's life on the temporary docility of proven man-eaters. Man-eaters who haven't harmed a hair on her head, Dr. Bennett counters, pointing to the screen where Amara now gently examines Nala's injured paw, a festering wound that might explain some of the lioness's aggression. Grace Okafor enters the operations room, her face pale but composed. Elder Kwame follows closely behind. "Show me," she demands, and Director Chen immediately guides her to the main monitor. Grace gasps at the image of her daughter surrounded by lions. Kwame's weathered face shows something closer to understanding. "The knowing," he murmurs. "Just as I suspected." "What do you mean?" Grace asks, not taking her eyes from the screen. "Some children are born with the ability to speak without words to the creatures around them," Kwame explains. "In the old days, they became healers and guides. Today they are often misunderstood." Dr. Bennett approaches, scientific curiosity overcoming skepticism. "You're describing some form of intuitive interspecies communication." "I am describing what you are seeing with your own eyes," Kwame replies simply. At the baobab, Amara has begun examining each lion in turn, her small hands moving with gentle confidence over their massive forms. She pays particular attention to old injuries, scars, a facial wound, Nala's infected paw, a partially healed gash on Imara's flank. "They're all hurt," she calls out, her voice carrying to where Samuel waits. "That's why they're so angry." Samuel cups his hands around his mouth. "Stay calm, sweetheart, I'm coming to you." "No vehicles," Amara responds immediately. "They don't like the engines." Samuel glances at Marcus, who nods in confirmation. "I'll approach on foot," Samuel decides, opening his door. "That's suicide," Marcus argues, though without much conviction. The scene before them defies all conventional wisdom about lion behavior. "She's my daughter," Samuel says simply, and begins walking slowly across the savannah. The lions notice his approach immediately. Scar rises to his feet, a rumbling growl emerging from his chest. The lionesses form a protective barrier between the approaching man and Amara. "It's okay," Amara tells the lions, her voice calm and assured. That's my papa. He helps animals too. She demonstrates, by waving to Samuel, showing the lions that she welcomes his presence. Their posture remains alert, but doesn't escalate to aggression. Move very slowly, Amara instructs her father. Don't look directly at Scar. It challenges him. Samuel follows her instructions precisely, angling his body sideways as he approaches, eyes downcast. He studied lion behavior his entire career, but watching his daughter apply this knowledge with such intuitive precision fills him with wonder and terror in equal measure. When he reaches the edge of the pride's comfort zone, about 10 meters from Amara, he stops, crouching low to appear less threatening. Are you all right? He asks, his voice carefully modulated. I'm fine, Papa. Amara responds with the casual confidence of childhood. They were never going to hurt me. They just needed someone to understand. What do you mean? Amara gestures to the lions surrounding her. Look at them. Really, look. They're starving because the drought drove their prey away. They're injured from poachers' traps, and they associate rangers with pain because when they were captured for health assessments last year, the tranquilizers hurt them. Samuel absorbs this assessment, recognizing the truth in it. The Ghost Pride's territory had been severely impacted by the drought. Their aggression toward rangers had begun shortly after a conservation initiative that involved capturing and radio collaring several Pride members. How did you know all this? He asks softly. I listened, Amara says simply. When you and Dr. Bennett talked, when the rangers gave reports, and I watched them every chance I got. They're not monsters, Papa. They're just scared and hungry. The helicopter circles overhead, maintaining distance but keeping visual contact. In the operations room, the team watches the unfolding scene with amazement as Samuel cautiously joins his daughter among the lions. I want continuous recording of everything, Director Chen instructs. What we're witnessing could revolutionize predator management protocols. Assuming they don't revert to aggression without warning, Minister O.J. notes darkly. Dr. Bennett shakes her head. Lions don't have the capacity for that kind of deception. If they're accepting human presence now, something fundamental has shifted in their perception. Grace watches the monitor with hands clasped so tightly her knuckles have widened. What happens now? They can't stay out there indefinitely. The question is whether this connection Amara has established will transfer to others, Dr. Bennett muses. Or is it unique to her? Kwame has been watching silently, his ancient eyes taking in every detail. The child has opened a door. Whether others can walk through it remains to be seen. Back at the baobab, Samuel has gradually been allowed closer to Amara and now sits beside her, though the lions maintain a watchful vigilance over his every movement. They need medical attention, Amara explains, pointing to Nala's infected paw. Especially her. That's why she's been so aggressive. She's in pain all the time. Samuel nods, professional assessment confirming his daughter's diagnosis. The infection looks severe. Without treatment, she might lose the paw. Can Dr. Thomas help them? Amara asks, referring to the reserve's veterinarian. It would require sedation, Samuel explains gently. After their experiences, I don't think they'd allow that. Amara considers this problem, her young face serious with concentration. What if I stay with them while they're treated, so they know they're safe? Samuel stares at his daughter, torn between professional admiration and parental concern. Amara, what you've done today is miraculous. But these are still wild predators. Their behavior can change in an instant. No, Papa, she insists with childlike certainty. They trust me now, and they'll trust the people I trust. She demonstrates by standing slowly and walking toward Zuri, the middle-aged lioness who has remained most weary. With gentle movements, am I?